Minded podcast powered by the CDA Paris edition, presented by Maison&Objet and Paris Design Week.
Welcome to Paris.
Thank you.
How
I'm
are
so
you?
excited. I'm good. A little tired, but I'm good.
I know a little secret, she just landed, but she
Yes.
looks fabulous. Look at her.
Oh, thank you.
And the weather's not great, but here we are.
You know what? The city is so pretty. It looks pretty in the rain, in the sun. It's always pretty. So I'm so happy to be here. Last time I saw you, I ran into you somewhere. I don't remember where I saw you. Where was it?
Remember.
In Miami?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably Miami. It's been some time.
Yeah.
Good.
So
And
good.
so much has happened since then.
Yes.
You have a brand new book, product line, so much going on. I mean, tell me a little bit about all that.
So, this last year has been very crazy. I just launched my second lighting collection with Studio M. It's volume 2. It's very beautiful. I'm very proud of it. Obviously, the book was the big launch that happened this year. It actually launched during New York Fashion Week in New York with Balmain, the fashion brand, which was very exciting because I am wearing fashion brands in the book. Then they open each chapter to show how fashion and travel has really influenced my design and what I produce now. And so, the book has been launched in 8 different cities now around the globe, including Dubai. And so, it's been a long kind of route, but it's been very exciting and I'm very proud of the book as well.
Tell me about day one, at the point when you decided that the book was going to happen.
I have a PR, she's in New York, and we were talking about, I have all this body of work, what's the next steps? What do we do with the work? And then she said, let's approach Monticelli. They were the first ones interested in the book, and they're the ones who ended up being the publisher. And that Phaidon and Monticelli have now merged. Mm-hmm. And so they're one big company. And actually, the book was given as a gift at the Phaidon 100 party, celebrating 100 years of Phaidon in New York. And that's when they celebrated the book, and I designed the reading room in New York as well. And so, that's kind of when we decided, mm-hmm. was when we had all this work and we said, let's turn it into a book. And then we approached Monticelli. They said yes in the first meeting. And then it just went from there. It was too big at first. It was 400 and something pages, and we had to reduce it to 200 and something. So it's been really exciting.
How long was the process from the beginning to end?
I was very prepared. And so we had already kind of laid out what I wanted. And I told them I want a book that doesn't look like any other design book that is out there. I want the cover to be iridescent. I want it to feel very fashion forward. And that's exactly what they did. And I love, if you see the book in person, and I wish I had it with me right now, but when you see it in person and you see the iridescent, it looks different. And that's really what I wanted, because it's actually always sitting on someone's coffee table or on their bookshelf. And so I just wanted it to stand out from the other ones.
That's terrific. And now here in Paris, you came as one of the Maison&Objet ambassadors.
Yeah.
And how is that? I know there comes a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things. You have a lot of media deadlines and things to accomplish and do. But it's your first time here for Maison.
Yep. So, yeah.
What are you expecting?
I've heard of Maison for so many years, and I've never actually made it here. And, I was asked, or I was appointed to be the only United States ambassador to represent at Maison&Objet. And, obviously I've been seeing pictures, and everything is available on Instagram now. And I've been following Maison for a very long time because they're very exclusive products here. And, actually Fornasetti is one of my most favorite plates. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to collect all of her faces. And so, obviously they also show here. And I think it's a huge honor to be the ambassador representing the United States here. And yes, there's a lot of media interviews. Mm-hmm. I'm meeting a lot of different companies. And, I'm very excited. Obviously, we're here in Paris, so that's even more exciting. But there's a lot going on.
Now, you are very busy, as we were talking about earlier. When an opportunity like this comes to you, Maison, as you mentioned, thrilled to be here, be one of the ambassadors as well. But what do you put in consideration in terms to really select what do you want to be involved? Do you have criteria or check boxes you have to go through before committing to something like that?
Yeah, I think that it's very important as being the ambassador is obviously what does Maison feel like is most important for me? And then what do I also feel is important for me as a brand? And those two things kind of have to meld together to make sure that we're both on the same page. And so, they gave me the list. And they were actually very easy to work with. And they said, you can pick some of the things that you feel are most important to you. And then the other items, there's obviously some things that they want me to definitely attend. And, the schedule is very packed. So it's almost back to back. I mean, just tonight I have 3 different events. But, I like it like this. I'm only here for 4 days. I might as well see as much as I can and speak to as many people as I can because there's so many people who are here from around the world. I have really good friends from B&B Italia. They're here. Mirdiani is here. And a lot of these CEOs, obviously meeting them again and again, there's a huge benefit to a designer.
What kind of benefits do you think you'll be able to take advantage of those relationships?
Yeah, I think everything is based on relationships. For example, my book launch that was in New York was at B&B Italia during New York Fashion Week. And that's because of my relationship with Francesco Farina, who's the CEO of B&B, Orain, who's the design director over there. And so, also the cover of my book has B&B on it, which is why I wanted it at that showroom. And so just melding all of this fashion plus interiors is really important because everything in our industry, not only with clients, but also with the brands, is all client relations contacts.
Absolutely. Do you feel very easy to finding out new brands? I mean, of course, we talk about social media. There's fairs like Maison, but there's so much out there. How do you keep yourself updating, familiar with some up-and-coming brands and what's new?
I think that it is visiting the fairs, obviously. I came to this beautiful showroom and I, got to know a new brand, which is Theorem. But I just think that you have to get out there and go to the different fairs because when you see something in person and see it in a magazine, it's not the same. You have to sit on it, you have to feel it, and it makes a big difference. And so, this is a huge learning experience for me because I can't believe I've never been to Maison before. And then coming here in such a big way is such a big honor. But, I'm going to learn a lot. I'm going to see the show for the first time tomorrow. And then I'll have more information to come back and give you.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it because a lot of times people will just be too comfortable. They have their comfort zone. They know what they like. They have their favorite vendors they want to work with. They're not much willing to explore, and the fact that you are out there trying to get to know more people and get more involved, it's just a testament of how you've been successful in the last few years. Because besides the interior design, you also run a business. So there's 2 elements over there. Do you find it easily to balance that aspect of being a creative person, but also at the same time you have to run the business in a way, in a fashion that, is profitable?
I think that, being a designer, now it's been 12 years. And being a designer, it's so important that you have to, at one point, decide, do you want to be more involved in the creative side or do you want to build a business and a brand out of it? And last year I had to make a difficult decision for myself, which is I want to start building a brand and I want to create more of the business side of it. And so I had to appoint a creative director who's been with me for a very long time. I had to get a managing director for the company because our firm is now 23 people. And, that's a mid-sized firm. It's not a huge firm. It's mid-sized, but it's enough where, they can help run the company. There's enough people to run the business and do the design, obviously under my watch. But, it gives me the opportunity to be here and speak to you and grow the brand is really what I want to do at this point.
Was that a difficult element to kind of let go a little bit?
Of course. It took me a very long time, like 3 years, to actually come to the realization that I have to let go because I am a business owner and which way do I go? I can be creative and be picking every thread, or I can grow the brand as much as I want. And, I finally made that decision. Even just to change the company's name, I don't know when that was. 2019, I changed the name from Contour Interior Design to Nina Magon Studio. Even that took me a really long time to do. And so, you get so used to things and there's a comfort level, and it's really hard to grow out of that comfort level. sometimes.
And the other aspect of that is growing the team. I mean,
Yeah.
being able to bring people that you trust, that you can rely on. How do you go through that when you start bringing people to join the team? What kind of ethos or mentality you're looking for the upcoming people who's going to be working with you?
If we're bringing someone in from another company, it's different. And if they're coming in from school, it's different. Sometimes I feel that when you hire someone who's coming out of school, it's a little easier because you can train them exactly how you want them to be trained versus someone who has the experience and they're coming in with their own ideas, which is sometimes good and bad. Either they can help you and tell you things that you didn't know or maybe what you're doing wrong, or they are so stuck in their own ways that they want you to run the company how they do it. And so, both ways work. But one of the things that we look for, I specifically look for, is the personality. Are they a good person? Are they personable? Will clients like them? Are they easy to talk to? And do they take criticism? Because if they don't, then it's very hard to teach someone who is not able to adapt. And I think that's sometimes more important than what is their design ability at that point, because we can teach them that part.
When you're bringing someone out of school right away, do you feel they're coming prepared for the work environment?
Absolutely not.
I was hoping that
There's no way. They don't know anything. And not only that though, but they've told me so many times when they come into the office, they tell me that, we didn't know what we didn't know. I think that what they learn in school is nothing of what is real life. Obviously, working in an office, being in a design firm is very different than school application. And so they're going to learn with us anyways, which is why I focus more on their personality and their ability to adapt more than what do they know how to do.
But what is one thing specific that you feel like that must be something you must know before you get out of school?
For me, they have to know the programs. They have to know how to use CAD. Now Revit is becoming huge. But the technology is advancing so fast, even with AI now, that I don't know if any of that is as important as their personality and if they know how to design, or if they know how to design in our aesthetic. Like if they're a traditional designer and they want to design Mediterranean, then they might not be the best fit for our company, right? They have to have a forward-thinking mindset. And they actually have to design on a design board. We give them one room, and they have to design that entire room and do a floor plan for us before we even hire them, just to make sure that, they know what they're getting into and we know what we're getting into.
Do you give them some sort of not only, I don't want to say homework, but not only look at my work, but try to find work beyond, through fashion, other brands that you feel inspired, that want them to kind of, get inspiration from?
Well, yeah, that's part of their, in general, or you're talking about when I'm hiring them?
When you're hiring, yeah.
Part of their project is we just tell them, for example, you have to design one living room in a modern house, say in Paris. What would that look like? Because they have to understand that, probably finding a modern house in Paris is impossible. So you would have to take, ancient architecture and modernize the interior. So they have to know basic things when they're showing us their design boards. If they don't understand basic stuff, then they're probably not the right fit.
Now, on the other side, when you're talking to clients, because that's a different conversation as well.
Oh, yeah.
Walk me through the process, step 1 to up to this point that you decided, this is a project I'm interested in and I want to go ahead and move forward with it.
Well, usually what happens is most of our clients come from word of mouth, or if it's not word of mouth, it's actually they search us on the internet or Instagram or something like that. Rarely does a client come to us from a magazine. And we were counting actually how many magazines we've been in, but it's so crazy that we've been in so many publications, but clients don't come from publications because we ask them. But if they do come on if they call in and they're coming in and we don't know who they are and they're not a word of mouth client, then we have a checklist. What is your project? Where is it located? One of the big things is what is your budget? Do you want us to do one bathroom or the whole house? We usually don't do one space, but we still ask them just to be polite. And then we have a minimum that, you know, if they're not going to spend a certain amount either on the construction or on the soft finishes, we might not be the best fit for them, because we want to do entire projects. That's the only way we can showcase what we really can do. And if we're only doing one room and the other rooms look totally different, it's really not worth our time, because part of it is, you know, for our portfolio, and then part of it is also to make the client really happy. And we don't feel we can make the client happy if we're doing partial projects. So we ask all these questions to the clients, you know, who are you? Where are you located? Is this your first house? How many kids do you have? What colors do you hate? Some basic questions. What do you like? You know, and then we ask them, show us pictures of what you like and what you don't like. Because some people, or many clients, have come to us and said that we like modern design, and then they show us a picture and it's like a country house. And we're like, that's not modern. In our definition, it's not modern. So we have to make sure the definitions match as well. And, you know, so we just kind of go through a vetting process. And our first client meeting is always in our office. So once they pass round one and we say, hey, this is a good client, give us your address, etc., they come into our office. And then we go through our contracts with them in detail so that they don't have any questions. Everything is very specific with the clients. And I've learned that over the years, that the more transparent you are with the client, the better. And so we go through that entire process with the client. And then if they sign, then we move forward and go to the house, or we meet with the architect if there is no house, and start the process from there. And obviously everything's different, because if it's a commercial project, it's different. If it's a residential project, it's different. Like, we just finished a restaurant in Houston called Cocody, and it's in River Oaks in Houston, Texas. And we were just given a blank building, right? And we were the interior design firm on the project. And, you know, they just said that they're actually from Paris. The clients are from Paris. And they said, we want something that feels more European. We don't want something that feels Texas. And they were very clear on what they wanted. They were very clear on their budget. So when the client is clear, it makes our job a lot easier.
You mentioned something earlier about the press. You never really seen clients come from press.
Yeah.
At this point in age, what do you see the purpose of it, if you're not really getting business and things like that?
You know, I think that the purpose of press is to give clout to us as designers. It gives us the validation that is needed, because again, I always say this, interior design is so subjective that sometimes you want some validation that, does somebody like my work? Do people, do they think it's good? Do they not think it's good? And you know, when you're on a cover of a magazine or an editor publishes your project, then it's just validation for us as designers to show that, yeah, you know, our stuff is good and people are acknowledging our design ability.
When you look at what's going on in the magazine these days, do you feel that they're a good representation of the community? Because there's an entire community behind the scenes that maybe your client are not familiar with, but we know.
Yeah.
But when we look at the magazine, we're like, are they doing good service to the community?
You know, I think that's a tricky question. I think that they are doing a good service, but I don't think that they're showing enough. Because every design magazine is specific to a certain taste, right? And so sometimes it's difficult to get a project published or show something that's not of the ordinary, because that magazine might not want to publish a project like that. So I do feel like there's so much more that is out there than what we were seeing in specifically American magazines, that I think that, you know, there should be a magazine that goes above and beyond. But at the same time, I also think that magazines are going a little extinct. And so I'm waiting to see what is the next thing that's going to help with publicity. Obviously, it's complete social media. And now let's see where AI takes us, because I don't know if magazines are going to exist for much longer.
Well, you talking about social media, you are someone who has been able to capitalize on an entire audience on social media as well. How important that has been for you and for your business?
You know, it's been very important because of social media, and we don't have a huge following. We have, I think, just under 300,000. And so that's not a big following, considering other people have 1.2 million, 2 million. But I think what it's done is it shows, especially for product, that when we're designing product, a lot of the companies look at our social media and say, do people follow them? And then they decide, hey, we want to do a licensing collection with this company or not. So I would say less for interior design and more for product and building clout with different brands. Because our clients, I don't know if they're really on social media, unless they're an influencer, which we do have a couple of influencer clients. Our clients are really not on Instagram. They're, the people who read Forbes. They're the ones who read magazines in private airports. They read the Wall Street Journal. They don't look at Instagram. And so, there's different aspects of marketing that can be used in different ways.
So you see maybe social media is almost the gateway for brands to approach you to start developing a relationship with product development.
Exactly.
And how you have, as you mentioned, a second collection coming up with lighting.
For Studio M.
For Studio M, for second collection. How that experience has been for you?
It's been great. It's interesting because during COVID, we designed a lighting collection just for fun in our office. And, I got approached by a brand, which was Studio M, and they're part of a larger company called Maxim. And they said, hey, listen, we want to do a collection with you. And that was my second collection, because my first collection was a Universal. Then I have Wall & Deco. Then I have Sarai in Milan now. I have quite a few different collections at this point, but they were my second one. And so, doing a collection with them, they were very open. We kind of took those designs and reimagined them a little bit so that it would be easier for them to make it. And now we have the second collection that's launched, and it just actually launched in Dallas, and they said it did very well. So I'm excited to see how we launch this to the world, because it's just coming out right now.
When you put a second collection out, it's almost like you're putting, I don't want to say a child, because for us who have parents know there's a big difference, but it is a big investment. It's time consuming, and you're very much waiting for, and the performance really is black and white in terms of sales, right? Maybe you can get press and a lot of visibility, but at the end of the day, the companies really want the product to perform. Are you someone who would try to pay attention to that as you develop the second to the third collection?
Yes.
You try to look at those pieces that perform well and build on that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think not only do I look at it, but the companies are also looking at it, because we're just getting a small percentage of the sale of every piece. But it's very important for the companies to also analyze that data and make sure that every piece that we're reimagining is a piece that actually sells.
So now we have product, we have that interior, residential, commercial, hospitality as well. You've done the book. What else? What are we looking for?
I think that we're just really trying to turn the company into a brand now. How do we make Nina Magon a brand? How do we focus on more product development? Do we start developing our own product? Do we do more licensing? Obviously there's a lot in the pipeline of what we think we want to do. We're also going into real estate developments. I just started my first development of 19 townhomes, 4 are already completed of the 19. And so, turning that into the real estate developments by Nina Magon, where we're using our lighting, Cosentino, I have another collection of Cosentino Onirica, using Onirica inside of those townhomes. So it becomes you walk into a Nina Magon home. If you like our brand, then you can buy a house that is designed by us.
So it's exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah, we're trying. It's going well so far. So God willing, everything continues on a positive path.
Okay. I have a couple rapid fire questions.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Yes, those are my favorite because everybody got terrified.
Okay.
All right. First one.
Oh, God. Okay.
Best compliment you ever got?
In terms of design or
whatever you want to say. Personally, design, something that kind of make you,
You have nice hair. I don't know. Yeah. You said rapid fire, so that means I can answer anything.
Whatever comes in. Worst advice you ever got?
Worst advice? Yeah. Do what everybody else is doing so that you can make money.
Do one more time so we can
do what everybody else is doing so you can make money.
Give me an icon idol.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Whatever. First one that pops in your head.
A Louis Poulsen chair.
Favorite fashion brand?
Well, I have to say Balmain or they're going to kill me. So Balmain.
Favorite place to eat in Houston, Texas?
Cocody.
Yeah, he's plugging everybody. That's right. A place to fall in love.
Paris.
A place you never want to visit again.
Oh, God.
High Point.
But you can't say that on camera.
I'm not getting any license here anyway. Well, now I'm thrown off. What do you hope for your kids?
Success.
How do you achieve success?
By following your dreams.
How do you come to find what your dreams are?
It's whatever makes you happy.
There you go. I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Before we let it go, if you don't mind telling people that's checking, listen to the podcast or even watching us on YouTube, how they can find more about you, your work, and all the brands you're working with.
So you can find more about us on www.ninamagon.com, or you can visit our Instagram at Nina Magon Studio.
I mean, thank you so much,
Of
Nina.
course.
Appreciate it. I'm sure I'm going to see you a couple more times this week.
Yes.
And
Many more times.
Many more times. I really appreciate it. Thanks
Of
again.
course. Thank you. Thanks.
Minded podcast powered by the CDA Paris edition, presented by Maison&Objet and Paris Design Week.